Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we're going to be looking at what DC Games is doing and why I think there will be, in my opinion, a little bit of excitement here in the next few months. Now, so far, we have to say Gotham Knights, the marketing has not necessarily been up to par, but Suicide Squad, I think the developers have done a good job in marketing that game. Rocksteady has done very well in making sure that we know exactly what it is that they're trying to present to us. In terms of Warner Brothers Games Montreal, their marketing has not been so solid, but again, I usually try to give the benefit of the doubt because marketing is different from development. So the developers and all of the people involved are working on the game. It appears Warner Brothers, leading the marketing side, does not necessarily want to showcase a lot regarding the game, which is kind of sad and which is a shame in my opinion. But nonetheless, I think there's something that's very important here regarding these games that we've seen revealed. Now, altogether, even though none of them have been released, we have three major DC games on the chopping block. We have Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. We have Gotham Knights, which is also one that for the longest time, a lot of people were looking forward to. And also we have the Wonder Woman game that was just revealed at the Video Game Awards. So when you combine these three, you have to look and say perhaps in the next 2 to 3 years, Warner Brothers games might, if they put in a lot of effort and bring quality, catch up to what Marvel has been able to achieve. Now, I get it. Spider-Man games right now have basically taken the torch and have set the standard for what superhero games should look like as, you know, it pertains to that genre. It used to be the Arkham games, which honestly, they still do set the tone. Don't get me wrong. But because of the way Spider-Man is much more ubiquitous in terms of people getting their hands on the game more and more, and Arkham being old, it just happens to be that the organic successor to who's going to be carrying the torch is Spider-Man and even the Miles Morales game, and even better, the remastered version of Spider-Man and Miles Morales on the PS5. These have shown the max amount of quality that you can see from the games in this generation. Now, here's my thing. I think what we're seeing with DC Games not only provides the opportunity for them to catch up with Marvel games, and that's kind of a subjective statement anyways, but what's better or what's more important is the possibility that this opens the door for more characters from the DC side to be revealed and to be brought to the community of gamers. Already, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is already leading the front. Yes, Gotham Knights is showcasing Nightwing and Robin and Batgirl and Red Hood, but these characters honestly have been shown in some form or the other in other games. Arkham Knight by itself had a plethora of characters. And I know Harley Quinn was also in Arkham Knight, but where's King Shark? I mean, this is one of the very few times I've seen him in a video game. I don't think if he's shown up in any other video game, maybe he has. And also, you know, Captain Boomerang. Think about all of these different characters and possibilities. And then even though we've seen some of the Justice League already from Injustice, those games were highlighting and focusing on a fighting game community. And so seeing them in the Justice League already, or in the Suicide Squad game, sorry, the way they're going to be depicted as maybe villainous or maybe allies of the Justice League, it's going to be interesting because that's a whole different parameter. That's a whole different setup as to how the characters are depicted. Now, another thing too is, even though the Suicide Squad game seems to be like a hodgepodge of a number of characters, and the Gotham Knights game seemed to be, in a sense, much more focused around the Bat family, the Wonder Woman game is the one that's signaling that we may be getting video games that center around other characters, potentially characters like the Green Arrow, potentially characters like, you know, the Green Lantern himself. I mean, you cannot basically write off these characters, and even better still, Superman. I mean, if they bring a Superman game because Wonder Woman is now flinging the door open, I think this is exactly what DC Games has been in need of in the past few years. Now, potentially, it may have been that there hadn't been enough development possibilities in terms of finances or anyone that they want to give the license that they felt confident with in the past few years since the Superman game got scrapped and canceled. I think that's probably what has happened. I think that game was in development, it got scrapped, it got canceled, and whoever was in charge of making those decisions did not necessarily feel the need to continue to hand over those IPs to other people, which in all kinds of unfortunate aspects, the Superman game that was canceled at the recession around 2007, 2008. The studio ran out of money for development. That's basically what happened. But now, I don't think that's necessarily going to be a deterrent, because Warner Brothers has made multiple Batman movies and all of these different productions. I think at this stage, they can probably invest in 8-year, 9-year projects that have been sitting on the shelf and growing cold, and just rehash mechanics that are already working in other games to be able to bring something pretty cool. I think a Green Arrow game will benefit from the mechanics that are already existing in Batman games. I mean, at any rate, maybe a Green Lantern game might provide a little bit of a challenge in terms of building things from ground up. But if you talk about, say, Wonder Woman, if you build a Wonder Woman game and you build it very well according to her powers, that opens the door for potentially building a game around Superman, potentially a game around characters like Hawk Girl. So there is so much to be excited about, and that is only contingent on Warner Brothers basically taking the torch and running in that direction. Now, here's the interesting thing. If Insomniac continues at the pace that they are, where they basically just drop their work and don't talk too much, I think Warner Brothers will have to be playing catch up for the long run. But if Warner Brothers is able to continue with this focus and even continue to get these other projects up and running in terms of prototyping and seeing what could come of them, and this is based on each studio, by the way, I think there's something that actually is to be said in terms of being excited for what's to come. Now, keep in mind as well that Warner Brothers Games Montreal, the open secret is that they're possibly working on a Superman game. So after Gotham Knights is released, we'll probably be hearing word about that Superman game, which then adds to this entire mix. But since it's not been confirmed, that's only a hypothesis. So I'm only going with the 3 major games that we already have revealed, and then everything else is potential in terms of that. But the potential is there nonetheless. In terms of Marvel, they're not working on potential anymore. They're literally working on feasibility and basically expanding what they've already built upon. I mean, the Spider-Man 2 game is already going to be building on the main Spider-Man 2018 game and also Miles Morales of 2020. So this is something very interesting. And then there's a Wolverine game coming from Insomniac. There was the Guardians of the Galaxy game, and there's the Midnight Suns game that's also coming, and who knows what other Marvel project is being worked on by some individual studio around the place, since Marvel has decided that they're going to take their IPs and give it to studios far and wide. So nonetheless, regardless of all of this, superhero genre in terms of the way video games are going to be shown and showcased is probably going to see a very wonderful offering in terms of this console generation. The only thing is just a matter of time and waiting, and I think this is pretty much what it is that we need to do. But I wanted to go ahead and just share some of this. I've seen some of these sentiments around the community from comments, from Reddit groups. It's been really interesting to read a lot of them, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think about all of this? Let me know if this is something to be excited about, or is this something you want to be cautious and not create too much hype around and basically overhype yourself only to have your hopes and dreams dashed if none of these come to fruition. Talk to me in the comment section. I appreciate you guys for watching the video. Peace out.